Hey everyone, welcome back to SG Carmart Reviews, and today we are driving Audi's flagship sedans, cars that represent status and exude authority. And we have two models here. We have the facelifted A8L as well as the newly introduced Audi S8. Let's go take a closer look. Let's first talk about the A8L, Audi's flagship limousine. So this being the long wheelbase version, we have a wheelbase of over 3.1 meters, and that gives you maximum comfort. And this is a big car, right? It is 5.3 meters long and almost 2 meters wide. But because it is made from 58% aluminium, it is relatively lightweight yet still very sturdy. So this A8 has been facelifted, and one of the key differences you'll notice is that the front grille is different now, right? So it is slightly wider than before, and the design, the pattern is new now, and I actually quite like it. I think it looks a little bit more futuristic and modern. Also, we have full LED matrix headlights here. The shape is slightly different than before, and also there is some additional functionality that we'll talk about a little bit later. The Audi A8L is priced from $526,677 to $694,675. The Audi S8 is priced at $729,546. The A8L's 4-litre V8 engine produces 453 brake horsepower and 660 Nm of torque, while the S8's V8 engine produces 563 brake horsepower and 800 Nm of torque. Both the A8L 4-litre and the S8 use an 8-speed Tiptronic transmission, bringing the cars from 0 to 100 km/h in 4.5 seconds in the A8L and 3.8 seconds in the S8. For more details on the Audi A8L or the Audi S8 or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. And I must say, the car's stretched lines and overall design really help to emphasize its overall length and road presence. And at the rear, we have a customizable taillight signature with digital OLEDs. The new Audi A8 and S8 are also available in a wide range of color options. Now I'm here in the rear of the A8L, and this is the higher spec version, and trust me, this is really a true bespoke lounge experience. So first of all, space, right? So this is my standard driving position. This is the rear seats in its most upright position, and I mean, just look at the amount of space I have, right? I could literally sit there and still be quite comfortable. There is really so much space. And talking about these seats, this whole rear interior is in Velcro leather as standard, and there is also a cognac leather option as well. And everything's leather, right? Your headrest is leather, your armrest is leather, everything's leather. And these seats, they are, I wouldn't say infinitely adjustable, they are 22-way adjustable. But one of the cool things you can do is that you just hit one button and then the seats will then slide forward and recline. So you can really have a more relaxed sitting position. And even when you do that, there is still so much space. And while yes, there are 3 seats at the rear, you can ostensibly sit 3 people. This is a car designed primarily for 2 people, right? And that's because you have this center console here. And that gives you access to seat adjustments, obviously, but also this little touch control here. And through here, you can control things like your seats, you can control the reading lights, and these are all matrix LEDs as well. You can control the blinds, you can control your music, your radio, all kinds of things, right? What other functions you have? You have ventilated seats, so these are all ventilated, and these are massage seats as well. Also, we have this screen here, so this is a 10.1-inch screen, and through this you can access things like streaming. You can stream Netflix, you can plug in a HDMI cable here and then stream things from your laptop, your iPad, whatsoever. Also, cool thing, we have a 230-volt power socket here, so this is basically like your standard wall plug, right? So you can essentially plug in your laptop charger whatsoever, and you can work on the move. And that makes sense because this car is designed for that, right? It's designed for, I guess, execs who are on the go all the time, and it's a fantastic space. Now let's go jump to the front. Let's talk a little bit about the specs of these cars. So the A8L is offered with 2 engine variants, a 3-litre and this 4-litre V8. And obviously the range-topping S8 has a big bi-turbo V8 4-litre as well. All these cars also come standard with things like your predictive active suspension, your dynamic all-wheel steering, as well as the suite of safety systems. So you have your lane keep assist, you have your active cruise control, and so on and so forth. Now let's go drive these cars.
Drowning in the lost emotion. like some kind of ocean from my eyes. But I got up out of the hopeless. Yeah, I got over you last night.
So, as mentioned, the A8L comes with two engine options. So in this particular one, we have a 4-litre V8 engine. So here we have 453 brake horsepower and 660 Newton meters of torque. So that's plenty and plenty of power, right? So if I just put my foot down, the car picks up very quickly, and you know, it makes quite a nice sound as well. It is a V8 after all. But obviously, with a car like that, it's not really about straight line performance, right? It's not really about how quickly you can drive. It's about that sense of comfort. And I must say, it is a very comfortable car, you know. So here we have the adaptive suspension. So basically what that does is, if the car will basically try to read the roads in front of you and then adjust the suspension accordingly so that, you know, it will smooth out the bumps as well as it can. And it really does that, right? It also helps that this has quite a long wheelbase, so it feels very comfortable. If I'm being honest, you know, I don't think a lot of people buy an A8L to drive the car, so you're more likely going to be sitting in the back and being driven around. But no matter the case, you can definitely be assured that, you know, it is going to be a very, very comfortable drive. In terms of the powertrain, we have an 8-speed Tiptronic gearbox, and you know, it is very, very seamless, right? Again, you're not likely going to be swapping cogs by yourself, but if you do, you know, you realize it's very smooth, you know, downshifts are done very seamlessly, and it's just a very, very, very smooth driving experience. We also have something called cylinder on demand. So basically what that is that the car can shut off half the bank of cylinders as and when the situation is right. So this is about, you know, saving fuel. Also, this car can then also coast because this is a mild hybrid, has a 48-volt system. So in the right situations, for example, right now, the engine is actually not on. So if you can see my tacho, it's just at 0, right? And then the start-stop light will be on. So basically, right now, I'm rolling with the engine off. And then when you get on the throttle again, it just comes back in and it is completely seamless, right? You cannot tell at all. So that's really, really quite impressive. With the S8, obviously, it looks quite visually similar to the A8 because they are essentially based on the same car. However, you can see that the grille is slightly different. We have a very subtle S8 badge here, and the air intakes at the side are slightly different in design as well. And to be clear, this S-Line package is available as an option on the standard A as well. But let's hop over to the back where the differences are much more obvious. Here at the back, obviously beyond the S8 badge here, there are these 4 functional and flow optimized tailpipes that really mark this out as a performance model. Now, I'm here in the rear of the S8, and this being the standard wheelbase model is slightly less spacious than the long wheelbase A8L. But that being said, it's still plenty spacious, right? I have tons of legroom, good amount of headroom, and honestly, if you're complaining about space in this car, I think something's a little bit wrong because this is still functionally a large limousine and there's plenty of space, right? And similar to the A8L, this is a very, very high-spec model, and you have all the same kind of features as well. So you have the same reclinable seats, we have ventilated seats, we have massage seats, you can operate the blinds using this rear seat remote. And really the only 3 or 4 differences, I would say 3 key functional differences, is the fact that here we're obviously missing that rear seat entertainment screen. We don't have that additional sunroof here, and also we're missing that additional vanity light and mirror. And also here we have a little bit of carbon trimmings here and there just to again signify that this is a performance model. But all things considered, it's still a fantastic space, right? It still feels very lounge-like, it feels very expensive, very premium, and no one's going to complain about sitting here. Now here in the front of the S8, it is very visually and functionally similar to the A8L, and that's no surprise because this is effectively the same cabin. So we have the same 3-screen setup with all your various functions, and really the only difference you'll notice is the fact that we have a slightly different steering wheel. This is an S-Line steering wheel, and you get all these carbon fiber trimmings everywhere to really signify that this is a performance model. So this S8 has a 563 brake horsepower V8 engine, and that's a lot of performance, right? So 0 to 100 km/h takes just 3.8 seconds, and let's be honest, that's quicker than most hot hatches these days, right? So yeah, you just drop a couple of gears, put your foot to the floor, and it's very quick, right? And I especially like how it picks up speed. So you're not going to be driving with your foot to the floor all the time, but you know, if you just put in a lower gear, half throttle, and it's just the way it delivers that power in such a creamy, smooth fashion that is really, really very enjoyable, right? This is the kind of car that you could drive for hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, no effort at all, you know. And let's be real, right? A car like this is designed for the Autobahn, so in Germany where you can do 200, 220 km per hour legally, right? And why that's the case is because you can feel the stability of this car, right? You know, no matter what speed you're going, part of it is the fact that it's really quite heavy, but it's also so planted to the ground, and I really like that about it. As far as handling goes, you know, I'm taking around a corner now. So this car obviously is the standard wheelbase model, so it's a little bit more nimble, and we also have a sports differential at the back. I mean, it's no sports car, it's still a big heavy Lux barge, but for what it is, you know, it's surprisingly agile. In terms of being a driver's car in this particular segment, you know, I think this is really a very nice car to drive. You know, it's the kind of car that if you want to drive it quickly, you can. If you want to just drive it normally, you're just going to work, stuff like that, it's still going to be super comfortable. It's just going to be enjoyable no matter the driving situation. And I think that's precisely the appeal of the S8, right? It's that kind of sleeper car where people looking at you won't think, oh, this guy has a huge 500 horsepower V8 engine under the bonnet, right? It just looks like, oh, just another standard A, you know. But then you put your foot down and you're basically going to be quicker than just about every car on the road. So the Audi A8L and S8, is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? Here definitely is a go try, and that's really because these cars, they exist on a spectrum, right? You have choices, and it really then depends on what do you want. So for my taste, I want the S8. I think it's the consummate sleeper car. You know, it looks unassuming, it looks just like an 8, but you have performance, more performance than you ever need and want, and it's going to be quicker than most other cars on the road. And if you see yourself as being the one driving the car more often than not, then I think the S8 is the one to have. For most people though who want that chauffeur experience, I think probably the one to get is the A8L 3 litre, and a big reason for that is just the fact that it's $170,000 cheaper than the 4 litre. And with that amount of money, you know, you could basically spec up the car to the same specs as this 4 litre. With the 3 litre, you're still going to get the same kind of comfort, the same kind of luxury, refinement and style. Alright, thanks for watching. Do let us know what you think about these cars in the comment section below. And of course, also like, share and subscribe to our channel. And for us on TikTok, we are at SGCarMart. Until the next video, see you soon. Bye! Ah, hot! Okay. Woo! Let's go!